guys. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. We're going to be talking about Teen Mom star Catelynn Baltierra and the adoption that, she placed her daughter Carly up for adoption. She was live on, I think it was TikTok, actually found a clip of the live earlier today. And when she was live, I think she went live to talk about their podcast because another episode of the podcast came out. However, anytime Catelynn and Tyler go live, they get a lot of questions about the adoption. So she was answering questions about the adoption, and I found it to be interesting. Anytime Triple, I bet you already were a member. You just renewed your membership, huh? But welcome back. You're already a part of the family, but welcome back. So this is something that upsets a lot of people that, Brandon and Teresa have cut Catelynn and Tyler completely off as far as communication with them, with Carly. And a lot of people are upset that Kate and Tyler continue to talk about this. One thing that was, I accidentally cut it off at the end, but Catelynn did say at the end, like, I came live to talk about the podcast. So I think it's like one of those things where they can't even get around it. Like they're doing something different. They have this podcast, outside of the show, they have this podcast, but if they go live to talk about the podcast, well, people are asking them questions about Carly and the adoption and everything. So then they kind of get caught up in answering these questions. And then we are like, quit talking about it, So it's like, do they not go live? Whatever. Either way, we're going to watch it together. Oh, thank you, Shannon. Thank you. But we're going to watch it together and we're going to discuss what's said in the video. So let's go ahead, and I will be uploading the video by itself for anyone that doesn't want to watch the live. Right after this live ends, in about 5 minutes after it ends, the live itself will be uploaded. It's almost 20 minutes. So if you guys don't want to be a part of this and you just rather watch the live without me stopping and commentating, it will be up shortly. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's watch. This was yesterday. And in this video, she talks about how somebody asked, what does Dawn say? Does Dawn know why? And she says, well, Brandon and Teresa has basically instructed Dawn not to talk to them about the situation, about Carly, whatever. Okay. Also, she says something in here that I realized that Reddit completely misunderstood. She keeps saying adoption is not legally binding, but what she means is open adoption is not legally binding. Open adoption, not adoption. Adoption is legally binding because you sign your rights away. Someone signs in as, the guardian, the legal parent, and bam, it's done. It's definitely legal. What she is meaning is open adoption is not legal in the state of Michigan. That's what she means, but I think just not really, she wasn't really paying a lot of it. She wasn't very conscious of how she was wording it. So Reddit is like tearing her up, and they're like, it's not legal because Tyler said it's not legal, but what she means is open adoption is not legal. Thank you so much, Shannon. Real quick, let's see who got the memberships. Thank you, Shannon, for gifting the memberships. So Sandy got a membership. David 420 got a membership. Cheech Brown got a membership. Nola K and Elle Mendoza got a membership. Thank you so much for that. 5 memberships were just gifted by Shannon. Thank you. Colby says, welcome to the family, whoever got gifted. Yes, and I will be sharing a link to the Discord after this, hopefully if I don't forget, because if you're a member, you get access to our channel Discord. So let's go ahead and let's watch what Kate has to say, and then we will talk about it. A lot of people misunderstood or twisted her words in the live. I know, and I was like, it sucks because she's getting hammered over, a misunderstanding. She knows what she means. Kate knows that adoption itself is legal, that it's legally binding, but open adoption is not. And that's what she was trying to say, but I think she was just not being super conscious of her words. So she just said adoption, and people are tearing her up. They're like, oh, because she said it's not. It's like, no, she knew what she meant. She just mixed her words up because she was probably reading the chat. I do it all the time. I mean, yesterday I made a post about the age gap between Janelle and Andrew, and I put there was a 13-year age gap because I had my husband and my son was in my office talking, and when they came in talking, I was already starting to type it up, and I was just super distracted, and I typed something that was not the truth, but I knew what I meant to say. I knew what I was intending to say, what I was intending to write, but because I wasn't like 100% focused on it, I typed something completely inaccurate. But anyways, let's go ahead and let's watch the live, and I will discuss it.
Everybody knows the full scope of the situation. Your eyes are so pretty. Thank you. Hi. Yes, her parents closed the adoption. It definitely wasn't my decision. And yeah, they could always reopen it. That's in their power. And, like I said, whatever Carly wants is what I want. 100%. And Tyler and I have said repeatedly, if it is something that she just wants because it's too hard, and I can understand it being too hard for her, like I will sit back and I will shut my face. And I will wait until if you ever want to come back, or if you don't, I can understand that too, But until I know that it's her, I think it's important for her to know that I love her and that I care about her, and that it wasn't me that quit reaching out. And, it's important for her as a birth child and an adoptee to know that we will never stop fighting for her.
Okay, and let me just say this really quickly, and I probably should have said it in the beginning. When you do this type of work, you end up getting information, not on every story that you cover, but you end up getting information. And what I can tell you guys, and I can't go into great detail about it, is that it's not Carly's decision. I have been given this information by someone. It's been confirmed that this person, like, that's all I can say, is it's been confirmed that this is not Carly's decision to cut off communication. You guys are probably going to be like, how do you know that? I can't say anything else. And I wish that I could. I wish I could talk more about it, because then you guys would be like, oh, okay. But that's all I can say. It's not Carly's decision. Let's continue. Which makes me, because I went from like, you guys probably need to be quiet because you guys are probably upsetting Carly. Like, she may hear all what you guys are saying and it may upset her. And she may be bothered that you guys are constantly speaking, and maybe sometimes not purposely saying things against her parents, but of course, other people may get mad at Brandon and Teresa. So I was kind of like, how is this affecting Carly? Is it upsetting Carly? And at the off chance that it is, you guys probably just need to be quiet and wait till Carly can come out to speak. However, yes, Lulu, yes. It's definitely a situation. Okay. Now, knowing what I know, I am leaning more towards it's probably a good thing that they are putting it out there, because otherwise she may not know when she can look into this. So anyways, let's continue.
And that we love her. It is definitely a traumatic situation. Yeah. I mean, it definitely brought up a lot of PTSD for me, and I felt like it swung me into.
Yes, Abby. Yes.
All those feelings I was feeling when I was holding her in the hospital room and saying goodbye. And that was super hard to go through. But if it's what she wants, I'll go through anything for her, period. For any of my kids, Mom. What, baby? Juice. You want some juice? Yeah. Okay, I'll get you some juice, baby. No, I'm not worried that the podcast will hurt Carly. No, because we talk about just all sorts of different aspects of our life, Our podcast is not just adoption centered, We talk about all types of things. Hey, I have to open up this cup. So give me I don't think it would negatively impact her at all. I'm doing well. I just got to get this munchkin some juice, and it was kind of hard to do while holding the phone. The podcast is called Kate and Ty Break It Down. Kate and Ty Break It Down. And you can listen to that anywhere that you can find podcasts. We're everywhere. And that's just been a super fun, exciting journey for Ty and I. It's been really fun. I think it'll be fun for us too to like on the podcast, like go and like rewatch old episodes and like recap them for people. I think that'd be fun. What, baby? Oh. Like, I think that would be fun. And to like dive deeper into certain things that were shown on TV, you know. Tyler, he's not at the house right now. A judge can't say yes to closing an adoption. Adoption is not legally binding. So there's nothing anybody can do. We are signed with Killer Network, yes. Yes, we are. Hi from Lake Orion. What's up?
It's too hot.
Oh, no. Do you hold anything against your husband and mother-in-law for making you give her away? I think that's a funny question, because if you feel like anybody forced me to place my child, you're dead wrong. If you think I'm that weak of a woman and person to choose a man over my child, that's disgusting. It was my decision. I could have changed my decision at any time that I wanted to, and people didn't see it because it wasn't recorded, but there was a period in the time before she was born that I did change my decision. And I was like, I can't do this. I want a parent. And then something happened in my life, at my home life. And I was like, oh gosh, never mind. I have to do this for her. I can't bring her home to this. But no, my mother-in-law had, helped us actually look into the adoption because we didn't know where to go. We were children. And Tyler never forced me to give my kid away. That's disgusting. Like, if you guys would think that is just wrong.
Wasn't expecting that.
Let's see. Do you regret it? I wouldn't say that I regret it. I think I regret, like, if I could go back with the wisdom that I have now and do it all over at 16, there's a lot of things that I would change. So an open adoption can always close, yes. And majority of open adoptions always close within the first 5 years because of the adoptive parents, though. Yeah, it is not legally binding at all. It's basically like a verbal contract at the end of the day. Tyler's mom was definitely a big support for you. She definitely was. I mean, and she was the person who I could call at any time if something was happening at home, and she would come and pick me up. And, like, she was a huge, huge support system for me, and she saved me so many times. And I'm blessed to have a mother-in-law like her.
Mom?
Tyler and I are still together, yes.
Mom.
Whoopee.
Off.
What do you want off? So with that being a verbal contract, why can't you reach out to Carly? Well, because all contact has been blocked. I don't have her phone number or anything like that. I've always just had her parents' phone number. B&T are her parents, and if they don't want her daughter's name out there, then that's their right. Yes, they are her parents. But also, we've been on a reality TV show for 16 years, and they also have been a part of that too, periodically. So I'm confused on that statement. For years, you and Tyler ignored boundaries Brandon and Teresa asked for. Do you think that played a role in their decision? I think that's a funny question because I would love to know what boundaries we broke. What boundaries did we break? I'm super confused. There's been no boundaries broken. So when people say that, I'm like, what? Okay. I have to scroll on these.
Although she was a little older when they stopped. I want to say maybe closer to 5, maybe. I could be wrong. I would have to double check that. In another interview, Catelynn said they were told by Brandon and Teresa that they could discuss the adoption. That Brandon and Teresa was like, we just didn't want, they don't want pictures of Carly's face posted. So every picture they posted, besides the first one that Tyler posted, was of the back of her head and with permission of Brandon and Teresa. This is something that I have another video about this where they talked about that. They're like, people always say we post pictures, we post pictures, we post pictures. Every picture that we've ever posted, with the exception of in the very beginning, Tyler posted one photo of Carly's face, and they contacted us and said, do not do that. We do not want you guys posting photos of her face. They said every photo since then has been a photo of her back, and it has been with the approval of them. The last video as well that we watched of Catelynn, she said they were told, do not read text messages verbatim, that if you are filming when we are communicating and you want to talk about what's going on, just don't read our text messages verbatim. So it's, I don't know, like from what I'm gathering, listening to Kate and Tyler, it seems like Brandon and Teresa were okay with them talking about the adoption and talking about their side of the adoption, their feelings with the adoption. They were okay with them posting, back photos. They got those approved. And when Tyler posted the photo of Carly's face, that was early on, and Carly's photo had been out there before. It had been on magazines. Like they had taken photos with Kate and Tyler had taken photo shoots with Brandon, and Teresa, and Carly where they were in magazines. So when that happened, Tyler was like, I had no idea. Like they did not want me to post her face because her face had been on magazines. Like we had taken photos with them. We had went to photo shoots with them, done photo shoots with them where they were all, in the magazine with us. Carly's face was posted. So I didn't know at first. And yes, when I was told that I couldn't do it, I got upset because I was like, what the heck? And I was mad for a little bit, but then I respected their wishes and I did not post outside of one photo. I never posted another photo of Carly's face. Every photo after that was the back of the head and with their approval. So I have listened to several videos at this point of Kate, Tyler, and how they explain different things. So let's continue. If I see anything in the chat that I've heard them address, I'll tell you guys what I've heard them say.
They had an agreement that Brandon and Teresa never kept. Yeah, exactly. Love from the Netherlands. What's up? Blowing up their phone nonstop with texts. Well, that's not true. I was texting like twice a month, once every other week or so, when they said that they weren't going to talk to us. And I felt like it was important for Carly to know that I didn't stop reaching out. Because I'll be able to show her that in the future, that I'd never stopped reaching out to her. Fenton, Michigan, what's up? Belgium. Did they get paid to be on the show? We talk about that in an upcoming podcast episode, and so I'm going to leave all those details for that.
Yes.
You won't stop talking about her. Well, no, she's a part of my life. Did you guys forget that in 2009? We literally documented an adoption? Like that's what our whole story was about adoption back then. So of course that has a part to do with my life, and it always will have a part in my life because that's my life. And we are on a docu-series. People are just trying to bait your anger. Well, and honestly, it doesn't make me angry. I just think it comes from people being very uneducated about adoption, and that's why I will continue to talk about it, Do you think being on MTV plays a part in your adoption being closed now? Absolutely not, because MTV has been a part of the journey since I was pregnant, and has been for, the last 15 years of all of our lives. So no, I do not think so.
Yes.
Oops.
This is true too. We saw it on the show. We saw we saw whenever Teresa wouldn't give an answer about the visits, Dawn instructed them to stop talking about the visits. We'll talk about something else. Ask them what they're up to. Ask them what Carly's up to. Tell them what you guys are up to. Just change the subject and talk about something else, and then maybe you can circle back to that later. And that was something that Tyler talked about as well on his Instagram lives. He was like, we were instructed to continue reaching out because that's the promise that we made Carly. We told Carly we would continue reaching out and we would update and we would send photos. And I mean, even in that first contract, it said we'll send photos, it said you'll send photos of your kids, but at the time they didn't have any. But it said we'll send photos of ourselves throughout the years. Well, so he said, even though they weren't doing what they said they would do, we wanted to continue doing what we said we would do. And Dawn told us to do that. Dawn told us to continue doing our part. I definitely think Dawn is a manipulator, and I think she plays both sides. Both sides. She tells Kate and Tyler what they want to hear, and she tells Dawn, Brandon, and Teresa what they want to hear, unfortunately, which makes them mad at each other.
If she'll be 16 in May. I do talk to a lot of the other moms, yep. And I do talk to a lot of birth moms, yes. And I talk to a lot of like adoptees on TikTok too. And I get a lot of their advice of what would you want your birth parents to do? What would, you can't remember her age? What do you mean? I said 15. She'll be 16 in May. Does Dawn know the reason for B&T cutting contact? I don't know. I guess they've told Dawn that she's forbidden to tell us anything. So.
Okay, you got it. Dang, another.
I'm thinking of buying a house.
Ad, come on. I don't think April thought that she did anything wrong. And here's my understanding of what happened. When they went to the last visit, they brought April and she had drinks, which upset Kate because Kate has a boundary with her mom. You are not allowed to drink in front of me. No, honey boo, we did not have a baby. So they brought, because they were going on this vacation to see Carly, but they were going to be there a little bit longer. So they brought more family to go along on the vacation with them. And I guess some of the family ended up going to the actual visit with Carly. And there was a dinner where April drank at the dinner. And I need to go back and watch over this and contact people directly to double check this. But when it came out, I remember Kate saying, like, my mom drank in front of me, which was a boundary she crossed, and I did not appreciate it. So I'm like, I'm wondering where it come out that she got drunk. Like, where did we hear that? Was that just assumed based off Kate coming out saying, my mom drank at the visit, and I did not appreciate that because it was a boundary I set? Or did Kate come out and say, my mom got drunk at the visit? Or did we assume she got drunk just because Kate exposed the fact that she was drinking? So I got to go back and check into that, because I know sometimes we'll take like one little thing to be said, and then the next thing you know, it's like this big thing. And I'm like, wait, was it really that, or did it just get like blown into that? And I do remember Kate releasing like text messages to her mom saying, like, you know, there's a boundary between us where you're not allowed to drink in front of me, but you drank at the visit. So I'm like, yeah, drinking at dinner. So I'm like, was she just drinking at dinner and still keeping her composure? Or did she get drunk at dinner to where everybody was like, oh my God, who's this girl? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Because I think it makes a difference, because if you bring her and she gets drunk, well, that's going to be embarrassing. And if I was Brandon and Teresa, I too would be like, what the hell? Now, if she just had a glass of wine with dinner or a beer at dinner, Brandon and Teresa might not even really, well, I'm sure they noticed it from my understanding of like the type of people that they are. I'm sure they noticed it and probably didn't appreciate that there was an adult at dinner drinking in front of their daughter. But it probably would not have affected them as much if she would have got like drunk. Y'all get what I'm saying? Let's continue.
I'm taking a walk.
Oh, the walk, yeah. Mm-hmm. You're crazy. So open adoption is basically hoping they keep their word. Yes. Yes, it is. And that's why I think about, there's certain things that I wish that
I don't know, Lulu.
could go back and change, but I can't, Why are people being so unkind? Some people are just unkind because it comes from them not being educated and they just choose to stay ignorant. A lot of the times I tell people, like, if you could take 5 minutes, even 3 minutes out of your day to educate yourself about adoptees and the statistics of adoptees and what is beneficial for them, I think it could be very eye-opening for people. Closing adoption to be illegal. Yeah, well, adoption is not legally binding. So also to you guys, don't forget, today, a new episode of Kate and Ty Break It Down. Our podcast dropped today, our second episode. And we talk with Becky, and that was super fun. And you can listen to that everywhere that you listen to podcasts. Also, our first episode drops on Patreon today, where you can watch the fully recorded episodes. And that is super cool to watch. And I think it'll be fun for people to actually get to see our reactions and all of the things. So that's super fun. So our first episode drops on Patreon today. And then our second podcast episode dropped today also. Kate and Ty Break It Down, and it's everywhere that you listen to podcasts. There is no permanent open adoption. In certain states, I know in California, you can take adoptive parents to court if they are not following what you guys agreed upon. But every state is different. Like, for instance, Michigan is not legally binding. And also, I wouldn't take her parents to court. I feel like that could do way more harm and cause a lot of more trauma. And make her feel like she has to choose between us or something, between us and them. And I would never want to put her in that situation. Some of these comments are crazy. Open adoption isn't legally binding. You keep saying adoption isn't legally binding. Yeah, open adoption is not legally binding. Same with any adoption you choose is not legally binding.
Yeah, that's what she was saying. She's saying in Michigan, there's nothing she can do because open adoption is not legally binding. Sorry. She's saying some states you can. So in California, if you have an open adoption, in California, if you have an open adoption and the adoptive parents agree to yearly visits and all these things, and they don't hold up their end of the bargain, you can take them to court. And a judge can rule that they have to do these things. However, in Michigan, that is not the case. And that's why she's saying open adoption is not legally binding. What she's saying, though, is even if they lived in California and they could, she wouldn't do it because she says, she doesn't feel like it would do anything but cause more trauma. She would never want to take Carly's parents to court because of how that would affect Carly. But she acknowledges that she couldn't anyways because they don't live in a state where she has a leg to stand on, basically. Yeah.
Listening to your podcast right now in the UK. Thank you. What would you like to change in the law? I think that anybody that is considering adoption should have outside representation, legal representation outside of any of the agencies that you go through or anything. Also, I think it's kind of crazy that it costs thousands and thousands of dollars for people to adopt children. Like, you are literally buying babies, which is crazy to me. Listening to your podcast. Thank you so much.
Sky.
Oh, you like Sky, Raya?
I did it.
You have to remember you're not the mom. Well, I mean, unfortunately, I will always be her birth mother. Yes, I will be. Always. And forever. And just because I placed her for adoption doesn't mean that I don't love her or that I don't want her in my life or whatever she wants that I would want. Like, are you kidding me? Come on. People are crazy. What does it mean for your rights if it isn't legally binding? That means I have no rights at all. They could close the adoption anytime that they want, and I have no say in anything. Yes, I understand you sign your rights away as a birth parent, but that's the thing. As far as it not being legally binding, I mean, it's like for the state of Michigan, for instance, you know, we made a verbal agreement stating that we wanted visits up until the age of 18. And they said, yes, absolutely, we'll do that. But as soon as, you know, I signed my rights away, they could say, oh, no, never mind. We don't want to send you pictures. We don't want to see you. And they could do that. And there would be nothing that me as a birth parent could ever do. So that's the scary part about adoption is, you know, once you sign your rights away, the adoptive parents can do whatever they want and whatever they please. Same in Indiana. Yeah. And I know like in California, you can take like adoptive parents to court if they are not following the agreement. But like here in Michigan, there's nothing you can do. We did not pick Carly's name. We actually knew what Brandon and Teresa wanted to call her or name her. So we put that on her birth certificate. Yeah, she did it.
I agree, Lulu. Hey, let's not call anybody dumb or ask if they're not, or even ask. Because one thing I can tell you is they have talked about this. So Kate and Ty was not given any representation until the day they went to court, 30 days after. So when they passed Carly off in the parking lot, they couldn't do it at the hospital because it was not done properly. And Kate's mom did not sign up on it. So the hospital was like, can't do it here. And that was not done correctly. However, once they went to court and the judge signed up on it, that's what made it legal. The whole thing with the adoption agency, none of that was legal. It was when they went to court and they said, yes, we are relinquishing our rights as her parents. And when Brandon and Teresa stepped in and said, and we are taking over those rights, we want to sign as her legal guardians, her parents. And the judge said, okay, you can do that. That's what made it legal. However, once they passed Carly off in the parking lot, Brandon and Teresa had to stay in Michigan for 30 days after that with the baby. They were not allowed to leave with the baby. So they stay 30 days in. Sorry, guys. 30 days in, they go to court. And when they get to court, that is when, that day, they are, I'm your guardian ad litem. I'm here to represent you. So this is what we're going to be doing today. You're going to be relinquishing your rights. Brandon and Teresa, they're going to be signing, you know, Anne as her guardian, and they will become her legal guardian. You guys understand this? Yes, we understand this. It was very rushed. It was not like anybody told them, from my understanding. It was not like anybody said, hey, just so you know, while you're with this adoption agency and they said you could open adoption, once y'all walk out of this courtroom, they do not have to do that. They can walk right out of this courtroom and never talk to you guys again. I feel like if somebody would have just said that to them, if somebody would have just said, hey, open adoption is not legally enforceable. It's nothing. Once you sign your rights over, once you relinquish your rights, you are legally nothing to her. And if the parents that sign in as her guardians never want to allow you to see her, speak to her, or anything, that can absolutely happen. I feel like if they would have been informed of that, and to my knowledge, the guardian ad litem had other cases that day, was very much, hey, I'm here. This is who I am. I'm going to represent you. This is what we're doing today. You got it. Okay, good. Hey, yep, I'm here. This is what we're doing today. Sign up. You agree, Judge? Sure. Okay. And they went about their way. Things, yes, they had a representative, but it was not like somebody they hired who was absolutely going to tell them everything that they needed to know. They still was not aware that open adoption was not legally enforceable. They thought, even though they signed their rights away, that the agreement that they agreed to, that they would get yearly visits, they thought that's what had to happen because they signed this agreement. So they thought this had to happen, you know? Anyways, let's continue.
I would say I definitely felt taken advantage of as a child. Yeah, 100%.
I agree, Helga. Or something.
I love all these people that are like, why don't you just let her go? You signed your rights away, so you have no say. Like, get educated about adoption. Obviously, you're not involved in adoption at all, because if you were, you wouldn't be saying those things. And other people are like, you're overstepping your boundaries. Please, what boundaries? I would like to know.
Thank you, Deanna. Thank you so much.
But no, honestly, the main reason why I got on here was just to say, like, I wanted to thank you guys for all the massive love and support that you guys have given our podcast. I think as episodes continue to drop, you guys are going to have a really fun time listening to Ty and I dive way deeper into who we are as people and our beliefs and our
The fair has been incredible to find newer products that align.
Okay, so that was the video where she basically said she did feel like they were kind of taken advantage of. That when somebody asked, how does Dawn feel about this? Does Dawn know why they cut you guys off? And she said, well, Brandon and Teresa actually told Dawn that she can't talk to us about this. She was asked about boundaries, or somebody said, you guys keep crossing the boundaries. And she's like, what boundaries? Like, what are we doing? And she didn't go into detail in this particular video, but I watched another video where she did, and it wasn't too long ago, where she said they were never told by Brandon and Teresa that they could not talk about their side of the adoption. She also said, and I think it was in this video, that she was not sending text messages and gifts, like all the time. She said it would be like every other week or something she would send a text. She named a couple of the gifts. I've heard her talk about like 3 different gifts or whatever. So I don't know how much she was doing that. Also, in a previous video, it was brought up about her sending them to the house and how it was supposed to go through the adoption agency. And she explained how that got to be. She said over the years, she said in the beginning, she didn't even, they didn't share their last name. They didn't share their address, that everything was, yeah, they talked, but pictures and stuff and letters did go through the adoption agency. But Brandon and Teresa ended up giving them their address so they could ship things directly there for Carly. So that was something that they started allowing, was for them to ship it there. And that's why they were doing it there and no longer at the. So unfortunately, I feel like there's just so much that, like, without me watching, she says she texts like every other week to be like, hey, how's Carly? Here's what we're up to. So without me listening to like Tyler's Instagram videos and Kate's videos, I'm only seeing what the show kind of portrays. And even myself, I'm like, wow, like that's crazy. That's crazy. Hearing them more though, I've always felt that they were taken advantage of by Dawn, for sure. I felt they were taken advantage of by Dawn 100%. Never understood why they're so close with Dawn, because Dawn told them that the adoption would go the way they wanted it to go. The very first time they met Dawn, and they said, this is what we want. We want to be able to give her gifts. We want to be able to send her letters. We want to be able to see pictures. And Dawn said, well, this can go the way you want. You're in the driver's seat of your adoption. It's your adoption. And what's so funny is watching back, that's exactly how it was. Brandon and Teresa and Dawn were at the mercy of Kate and Tyler. You know, at any second, Kate and Tyler could have said, no, we don't want to do this. And everybody would have been like, no, like, you know, they wanted so bad. Everybody was like kissing Kate and Tyler's butt because they needed Kate and Tyler. They really wanted Kate and Tyler to give this baby up for adoption, which do I think that was in the baby's best interest? For sure, because look what, and Kate said this on this live that she did. She said, there was a time that I changed my mind and I had decided I wanted to parent, but then something happened at my house and I was like, I cannot have her here. And I'm thinking, you guys think back to when Kate went to find her homecoming dress and the way her mom smoking in the car, chain smoking in the car, cussed not only Kate, but her friend too. Like all because Kate didn't like the dress that her mom liked. It's Kate's homecoming. Why can't she pick the dress she likes? But because Kate didn't go with her mom's pick, her mom completely started being just horrible to her, calling her names, calling her BITCH, being mean to her friend. And then think about the clip of when Butch got in her face and the smoking, the drinking that went on in the house, the constantly going to jail and all of this. If I would have lived in that house too, I would have been like, there's no way I can bring a child home into this. I am not bringing a newborn baby into this house where probably in 6 months will be kicked out, because in the first episode of 16 and Pregnant, Catelynn literally said, I'm 16 years old and I've moved like 12 times or 7 times. I don't, like a crazy amount of times she had already moved. So think about her bringing that child home. So I think Catelynn and Tyler had the right idea as far as like, we cannot have a child in our house. Like we can't. Look at what it would be subjected to. Look at like the drinking, the drugs, the language and the fighting. Like I think they had the right idea. Unfortunately, they went to an adoption agency that lied to them, that played them, that took advantage of them, and did not tell them the truth. That listen, even if you want, right? Dawn is more of an advocate for BNT and for the agency and for the adoption agency. Somebody should have said, this is what's going to happen. You can ask for an open adoption, but it is not guaranteed. And you can be best friends with the parents. And here's the thing. When you're that young, you're not thinking about it like, oh, I have something they want. These two people who desperately want a child, of course they're going to be super nice to me. Of course they're going to treat me like their family. Of course they're going to treat me like, oh, you're always going to be in our hearts. We're never going to not have a relationship with you because you're giving us something so precious. But then they're not. I mean, heck, I probably wouldn't have even considered this until watching their story, that as soon as they get what they want, they may not be that way anymore. They may be like, oh, got it. Don't have to kiss your butt no more. I don't have to even include you anymore because we got this baby. It's legal. We don't have to have anything to do with you. And I think if somebody should have just explained that to them because they were too young to not like to know that that was the case. They were told, that they would get their yearly visits. They were told they would be able to send gifts. They were told that they would be able to write letters and they would be able to have this relationship. And unfortunately, Dawn knew that that was never the case, that did not have to happen. Anyways. Right, yeah. Yes, I'll read some of the comments, and if I know anything based off anything that I've heard I'll answer it. But Sharon, they were 16. Look at who was surrounding them. They didn't get it. In fact, I wonder if it not been thoroughly explained to them as for purposeful. And two, like MTV definitely wanted an adoption story, you know. Amanda says they preyed on Kate and Tyler. The way she was looking at Catelynn in the hospital, like, please don't back out on this. You can see it in her face. Yeah, I remember when Tyler come out and was like, we're going to see Carly. We're going to see the baby. She was like, y'all are. And I feel like she did. She was scared, like, oh, crap. Like, they didn't want to see her. Now they want to see her. Are they going to back out? Which, if I was someone that could not have children and I was going through an adoption as well, I would have that same fear. Like, oh God, like we've come this far. We have a nursery at home. We have flown in. We have gotten attached to this family. They are expecting to go back home with a child. The nursery's already. We've already picked a name. We've got blankets. We got clothes. So I would have that fear as well. Yeah. Sharon says that, don't you think Carly loves her parents? B&T, they are trashing her parents, and how does that help them? I do. Yeah, I think Carly loves B&T, and I think she loves Kate and Ty as well, and the girls. She loves Kate and Ty's daughters. Yeah. Yes, Lulu. I'm sure if they know their child better than anyone, if they feel that it would not benefit Carly or mess with her mentally, who are we to say anything? It's their child. Yeah. The thing that might help is if they just backed off, even for a few months. It seems like they're talking about this all the time now. And that's the thing. It's like, it does. But then I'm like, Kate went live to talk about the podcast, but then she's inundated with people talking about this and telling her, stop talking about it. And it's like, well, I wasn't until you just told me that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like she is going to probably have to not go live, just work on the podcast or go live and try to ignore these comments, because she went live to say, hey guys, we got a new podcast coming out today. Thank you guys for the support. But then all these comments are coming in about Carly. And you are crossing boundaries. Y'all talk about it too much. And it's like, well, it gets brought up every time they go live. Kate didn't get the red dress Kate liked. She got the purple one. Is that the one that her mom wanted her to get? Tuesday, no, they don't. No depression, no sad, no emotional issues. My child's only issue was that the adoptive parents moved her across the country, but I made it work. She was angry with them. Gotcha. Sharon, they're not trashing them. They're stating the events and their feelings. And that's what Kate and Ty say too. Like, we're not trashing them. We're just saying, like, I remember Tyler's video. He's like, we're stating facts. Like, we are saying, this is what happened. They cut us off. This is how we feel because they cut us off. Like, where are we trashing them? So I'm kind of like, you do have this platform though, and people will get upset with them, and then other people might trash them, So it's like this line that, because you have such a big platform and you have fans, you may not have to necessarily like trash them, but people may get upset at, your fans may get upset at the fact that B&T cut y'all off, and they may go on to trash them, or it's just so hard, because it's like, do they? And I've always said this, I feel like everybody has the right to tell their story unless it interferes with the mental health of their children. If it's about that child, if their story includes the child, and there is a chance that it affects the mental health of said child, then you have to take that into consideration. And if you want to be a good parent, then you decide accordingly. You know what I'm saying? All I can say though is this: I've been told this is not Carly's decision. That she does want to see Kate and Ty, the girls, and that she is upset about this. That's what I've been told. Yes, adoption agencies need better laws, and I don't think it's a bad thing that Kate and Ty are trying to that they are trying to educate people on adoption, because had this not came about, I would have never known. I would have never known that in some states, open adoption cannot be legally enforced. Are there any other teen moms still with the dad of the first child? Macy, no. Farrah, no. Amber, no. Mackenzie, no. I don't think so. Was it an issue with consistency? Did CNT stop sending and reaching out for a year or two, and only Ty's mom was sending gifts? Because CNT got upset about that? Not to my knowledge. Also, my opinion, I don't think children should be being on TV anyways like this, mom influencers and stuff, people profiting off their children. I don't like that. Adoptive parents don't like that. Don't like that too. I agree. I am one that I'm like, I don't, you know, kids at a young age, they may think it's cool to be on TV, but when they get older, they may be like, wow, look at all these embarrassing moments in my life that was plastered on TV. Now I got to deal with that. Same, Shannon. Right. I don't think anyone expected CNT to stay together. Yes, I think you're correct in saying that. Babies giving babies away in parking lots next to traffic. The adopted mother always made me feel like she was saying the right things just to have the baby. Why didn't they move in with Ty's mom and keep Carly? I forget that part of the story. Ty's mom was financially not in the best place either, and was not like she couldn't do it either. Are they the only adoption story that MTV did? I do believe. And the bracelet she gave all of them, that was something she didn't mean. I think Ty's mom probably couldn't have imagined Kate and Ty would stay together and turned out normal with money. BNT willingly went on TV and People Magazine. Didn't they look at another adoption place as well? I don't think so. Not that I can remember. I know 16 and Pregnant, on their episode of 16 and Pregnant, I've watched it like so many times at this point, and they didn't there. So, she cares so much about Carly, but didn't have that book ready when she knew she was about to see her. And I think that was when she was late to the meeting, right? Birth control, close your legs. I can't say that. I got 7. I've been pregnant 7 times, got 6 kids. So I cannot advise somebody to use birth control. And two, that's what, let me just say that. Harley, I don't want to harp on you, but I feel like just because you give a child up for adoption when you're 16 doesn't mean you can't go on to have a child at 20 when you're more stable, when you're ready, when you're still with the man that you had this, at 16 that y'all had a baby with. Y'all are much, are you as mature as you need to be? Well, none of us are until, I didn't feel like I was as mature as I needed to be until I got to like 32. You know what I'm saying? But I couldn't imagine if I did not have the support that I had when I got pregnant at 17. If I would have had to put my child up for adoption, then people judging me because I stayed with that baby's dad. And then at 20, when I'm engaged, we purposely decided, okay, now we think we're ready. And then people's like, oh, well, you gave a child up for adoption. So does that mean I can't have does that mean later on I can't have a baby? I was 16. I'm in my own house now where I can give them stability. Also, some people have babies while on birth control. So just because, like, oh, take birth control, you have too many kids. I have babies from being on birth control. Like I was on birth control, still got pregnant. So I don't think it's kind of fair to really say that. And I don't want to sound like I'm being mean. I just don't think we always think about everything when we make some of the comments like that. I got pregnant on birth control and had twins. See, love the name Charlie. Oh, happy birthday to Goose's hubby. Didn't Ashley do adoption? Then take her back. Then realize she couldn't do it. I don't think that was Ashley. That was somebody else. Her aunt or somebody was gonna, and then they backed out. But I don't think it was Ashley. Vicky. Yeah, and I never even thought about that. Like, I remember the first time I heard Tyler say adoption is trauma, and I was like, all we ever hear about adoption is how great and grand it is. Oh, if you hashtag adoption, it's like adoption is love, like adoption is perfect, adoption is, and it's like, but it is trauma too, Um, It was Ashley, then maybe so. There was another girl too that Ashley Jones. There was another girl that considered it. I don't know. I agree, Rhonda. I agree. I agree. And I can say, can't say that. Okay. Bree was thinking about it with Stella. Yep. No, Kate and Ty did not get paid for it. No, Kate and Ty did not get paid for putting their child up for adoption. The agency did. Brandon and Teresa had to pay the agency thousands of dollars. I remember on one of the lives that Tyler did, he talked about how much that particular adoption agency made the year before, and it was a lot, millions and millions. I'm trying to remember the last reunion they went to. But yeah, they did come to some reunions. They filmed a few times. They were on People magazine. They were also on a Christian magazine. They've been for a while on the show. 40,000. Ron, I think they said 40,000 if I'm not mistaken, which is nuts. That is nuts. That is nuts. I think they know stuff we don't know. Oh, Christy, I'm sorry. Really? I'm so sorry. Jay Klein is still with her baby daddy. That's true. Absolutely. She was at their wedding. She wasn't in their wedding. Anyways, you guys. Same, Sharon. Same. Anyways, you guys, so I'm going to put the video itself up later if anybody wants to go back and just watch the video and don't want to go through hear me ramble and read comments and talk about things. The video itself, the little 18-minute clip, will be up under the videos category in a little bit. But yeah, it's honestly, with them being on Teen Mom, this is one thing I know is production pushes for them to talk about certain things. That's why Kale and Chelsea left, because they're we're tired of every time we film. Kale's they want me to talk about my baby daddy when there's literally a restraining order in place. I can't. Chelsea said the same thing. All they want me to do is talk about Adam when I don't see Adam, have not seen Adam in years. Aubrey doesn't really see Adam. So what am I supposed to say? Why can't they just focus on our lives today rather than constantly asking me to talk about Adam? So I do think this is probably something production pushes as well, for them to talk, so what's going on with Carly? Have you guys heard from Carly? Have you guys heard from B&T? And so then they answer the questions, and then bam, you got them talking about it on the show, and bam, you got people saying, oh, they won't stop talking about it. When I do think they are constantly questioning about it. When they do interviews, it's the same thing. Didn't Chelsea's husband adopt Aubrey? He did not adopt Aubrey, but she did take on his name. But it was Aubrey Sky, Lynn DeBoer. So she just added it. She kept Adam's name as well. Yeah, I get that. Because that's one of the things from my understanding. But this is what I say to that. When you adopted Carly from Kate and Ty, and they ended up telling you guys these things about, because there was more that happened outside of what we saw. Brandon and Teresa knew that Kate and Ty's parents struggle with addiction. in and out of prison, that Catelynn moved several times in her 16 short years. It was a bunch of times. Like, I feel like nobody thought into the future, right? And that hurts Kate and Ty on their end. And it also hurts Brandon and Teresa on their end because they are super religious people. They're very conservative and they, may not want Carly involved with people that have those type of people attached to them. Butch, April. But at the same time, it's like, well, you did adopt a child that like this was why she was put up for adoption, because her parents had these people as their parents. So I feel like nobody thinks about those things though, like, well, if I adopt this child and these are her blood grandparents, how's it going to be in 10 years? Are they still going to be an addict? Are they still going to be this? Is it, you know what I'm saying? If we're still doing visits, how is that going to affect her? Is she going to question about her? You know what I'm saying? None of these things are considered. Anyways, you guys, leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe. Right, boss. Yeah. And I will see you guys in the next one. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button on the way out and leave me all your thoughts. And I will see you guys back here shortly. Bye, guys.